Hi everyone, this is Miss Son here. We're going to do 1-3 measuring segments today. Rule or postulate. Postulate means facts and statements. Every point on a line can be paired with a real number. That's true. The real number that corresponds to a point is the coordinate of the point. The distance between 2 points is the absolute value of the difference of their coordinates, a minus b, an absolute value. So this is the value of AB. So when you see capital letter AB, they're talking about the distance between AB, or the length. This is a line segment AB. So if you have a number line, you have A and B. These points are real numbers. If you subtract them, find the difference, or count the difference, count the distance, that will be AB, capital letter AB. So when you see two capital letters, they're talking about the distance between these 2 points, okay? So let's look at the number line up here. You have point S, which is -4, point TA, point U10, point V14. And as you can see, they're going by intervals of 2. So what's this distance between S and T? All you have to do is count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So this is supposed to be 12. It got cut off when I wrote it. Please write ST 12. 1, 2, 12. -8 minus 8 is -12. Absolute value of those two numbers is 12. So that makes sense, right? So make sure you write 12 for ST. So when you see these capital letters, they're talking about the distance between these 2 points. So what's the difference? The distance between U, V? 2, 4. So 4. So if you do 10 minus 14, -4, absolute value is 4. So it checks out. S, U. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Just count by 2s. 14 is the distance between S and U. And TV, which is 2, 4, 6, right? If I do 8, the coordinate 8, the number, minus 14, I get -6. Absolute value of -6 is 6. So that works. So this formula right here for the distance actually works for every distance, every point. Let's take a look at this question. If a point W is added to a number line, WV equals UV. So UV is right here. UV is right here. What coordinate should be labeled as a point W? Well, you can do from here to here is 4, so just go down. You can pick 6, or you can pick 18 if you go up to. I don't have 18 here. So you can write 6 or 18, right? That will be the same distance between. So you can write 6 at, this is at 6 or at 18. Now let's look at segment addition postulate. If 3 points ABC are collinear, what does collinear means? They are next to each other on a line, right? Linear line. And B is between between A and C. Then AB plus BC equals AC. So let me show you with a number line what it looks like. When you have AC line segment, and if you have a B here, and if they're collinear, which means they are next to each other on the same line, co means together, linear line, same line, that means AB plus BC equals AC, right? That's called segment addition postulate. If you add this plus add this is entire line segment, which is AC. So this is called segment because these are line segments. Addition postulate. We will use this postulate a lot throughout the year. So let's take a look at this line. You have EG line segment. F is here. So EG plus FG equals EF plus FG equals EG, right? If I add this to this, that's the entire thing. What algebraic expression represents EG? So what you're going to do is add this, then you get the whole thing, correct? So let's add these two expressions. 8x plus 4x is 12x. Negative 14 plus 1, negative 13. I just combine like terms, add these two things. So from here to here, segment EG is 12x minus 13 because I added these two segments. If EG is 59, what are EG, EF, and FG? The measurement. Then you can say 12x minus 13, which is EG, equals 59, and solve for x using inverse. Add 13 on each side, which is 72, divided by 12 on each side, and you can use calculator. You get 6 for x. Once you get that, you can plug it into the original expression. 8 times 6, 48, divided by minus 14 is 34. 4 times 8, 24, plus 1 is 25. So once you get the x, you plug it in here and here to get each line segment. And from here to here, it was given to you, which is 59. So after you find the x, you plug it in to get the line segment measurement. Let's do another one. 4x plus 1, 7x plus 15. If you add these two, 4x plus 7x is 11x. 6 plus 15 is 21. So that's the expression for line segment JL. If JL is 120, what are JK and KL? So make this equal 120. 120 minus 21 is 99. Divided by 11 gives you x, which is 9. Once you solve for x, plug it into here and here. So you have 4x 36 plus 6, which is 42. So this is 42. And then you have KL, 7 times 9, 63, plus 15 is 78. So you can plug in the x to each one to get the measurement for each line segment. So let's look at the next example. I need you to draw a line segment here too. So here you have B is between A, C. So I want you to write and draw the line here. AB is x squared minus 11x. BC is 36 minus x. AC is 100. I want you to draw this line segment. And then I want you to write A, C, and then B in the middle. And then you're going to write x squared minus 11x from AB. 36 minus x, BC. From A to C is 100. Okay? So this is a little tricky. You're going to solve for x, AB, and BC. So it's a little tricky, so I'm going to explain. And actually, we're going to use Desmos. We're not going to do, this is called completing the square, but we're not going to use that. So what we're going to do is, we're going to draw this. You can pause the video and draw that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to write this down. First of all, if you add AB, which is x squared minus 11x, and then BC, which is 36 minus x, it equals 100, right? So what we're going to do is add x squared is here, negative 11x plus negative x. Add these two, combine like terms, which is negative 12x. And then you have positive 36, bring that down. And this, when you add these two, that equals 100. So let me repeat that. This is combining like terms. X squared, okay? So I just wrote it here. X squared, negative 11x plus negative x is negative 12x. Positive 36 equals 100. I got 100 from here because from here to here is 100. I'm going to solve for x, right? This is quadratic. So you don't have to copy the rest here. What we're going to do is we're going to use Desmos. So right here, when you go to decimals, we're going to type this line right here. X squared minus 12x plus 36 equals 100. If you want, you can just type this too, alright? So let me show you, and then we can find x. So here on decimals, you open the keypad, and then we're going to type x squared minus 12x plus 36. And when you do that, equals 100. When you do that, you're going to see a line. But I want you to zoom out to see both x value. So right here, the x-intercept is your x values. You have -4 and +16. Because we're doing lines, in geometry, we use positive. We're going to use +16. So you don't have to do all of this work. You can just simply use decimals to find the x values, which is on the graph. If you look at the graph here, just zoom out, just use the positive x-intercept. The 16 is your x-intercept. So what we're going to do is use 16 for x. Once you have that, we're going to plug it in, okay? So AB, we're going to do 16 squared minus 11 times 16. So we can use decimals for that too. So here we're going to plug in 16. So we're going to do parentheses. When you plug in something, please use parentheses and put the square outside of the parentheses. Minus 11 parentheses 16, and I got 80. Okay, so that's AB. And then we're going to plug in 36 minus parentheses 16, and that gives you 20. So I just plug in the x value, which is 16 right here, into A and B, and I got those numbers. So we're going to write AB is 80, BC is that what we got? Hold on. 20, right? So we can use that. Now for this, if you use negative, you get 60 and 40. So you can also use negative number, plug it in, and you have two possibilities here. Okay? So because you have two answers here, right? I told you to just stick with the positive, but if you use negative, if you decide to use negative, that's okay too. You can actually, but if you do get a negative answer, you don't want to use that. I just stick with the 16 and that's it. Now we have congruent segments. Congruent means same. So when numerical expressions have the same value, they're equal, right? If two segments have the same length, they are congruent. Numbers are equal, but objects are congruent. To mark congruent segments, you use tick marks. We call this tick marks. These are called tick marks. So, these are called tick marks right here. This line. These are called tick marks. When you see these tick marks, right here, that means these two segments are congruent. And this is the congruent symbol for congruent. So AB, segment AB, CD, they both 1 inch, 1 inch, that's equal to each other. When you have object like this with the tick marks, you use congruent. So segment AB, segment CD, they are congruent. So what's the difference with the equal and the congruent? Numbers are equal. The number 1, the segment, the length, if they ask you to find the length is equal, but the line segment, the object itself, they are congruent. They are congruent. And you say that when you have these tick marks. Okay? So numbers are equal, but objects are congruent. Questions. Why is a statement such as AB, so this is segment. When you have capital letter, we'll talk about line segment. So line segment AB is congruent to line segment D is incorrect. Remember, lengths are equal, but objects are congruent. So it should be AB is equal to DE because this represents the length. When you have capital AB, capital DE, we're talking about lengths. So you use the equal sign, okay? But if you see a line segment symbol on top of each other, we are saying that these two are line segment, the objects. So this is the line segment AB is congruent to line segment DE. So if you use AB is congruent to DE, that's not correct because they're talking about, when you have capital AB and DE, we're talking about lengths, okay? We're talking about numbers. So that is not the right symbol. You have to use equal sign. So for these, you use equal sign. If you have the line segment, the objects on top of the letters, then you use congruent, okay? So again, numbers are equal. Look at this. Objects are congruent. These represents the objects, okay? So look at the difference. Number, objects, okay? So that's the difference between them. So let's look at some vocab. First vocab we're going to look at, this is a very important vocab. We are looking at midpoint. A point that divides a segment into two congruent segments. So midpoint divides a segment into two equal congruent segments. Segment bisector. That's another vocab, really important. Bisect means in half. So segment is a line. So a point, line, ray, or other segment that intersects a segment at its midpoint is said to bisect, cut in half the segment, okay? So what it looks like, if you look at this right here, you have segment AC, you have tick marks. This means AB, you have two tick marks. AB and BC are congruent. B is the midpoint of AC. They're telling you that because these two are congruent. The midpoint divides the segment into two congruent segments. And then this line L is a segment bisector of AC because it is intersecting at midpoint. So the line that goes through the midpoint and that cuts this line segment AC into two congruent segment AB and BC, we call this line a segment bisector. And it has to go through the midpoint, which is half of the point A and C, the line segment AC, okay? So this B is the midpoint. This line, L, is the segment bisector, okay? So let's look at some example. U is the midpoint of a segment TB. What are TU, UV, and TV? So if you're just seeing the letters, they're asking you to write the numbers, right? The lengths. So what we're going to do is we're going to write 8x plus 11 equals 12x minus 1 because U is a midpoint and it cuts this segment in congruent segments. So these two are equal to each other. So you put the equal sign between these two and you solve for x. You're going to subtract 12x, which is negative 4x. Subtract 11, that's negative 12. So negative 12 divided by negative 4 is positive 3. So 3 is the answer. And then what we're going to do is we're going to plug in 3 into each x to get the length TU, UV, and TV. So from here, 8 times 3 plus 11 is 35, because 24 plus 11 is 35. 12 times 3 minus 1, 36 minus 1, 35. So if this is 35, this is 35, all together 70. 35 plus 35 is 70. So we're going to do more practice in class. So please pause the video, and if you have questions, please ask when we're doing more practice. Thank you for watching the video.